Oh my goodness. Greetings, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you are here. Today's nonsense. We've done some Shadow Tribal in the past. We've done a little bit of Gideon Tribal. We've even done a Johnny Tribal. Why not some Nicol Bolas Tribal? I love me some Nicol Bolas. It's the sort of thing that it can be really tilting to play against. So I can understand why some people are not real fond of Nicol Bolas. But it is so much fun to play. So, you know, I figure, what the heck? Let's give it a go. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the target Nicol Bolas is Nicol Bolas Dragon God. Blue, black, 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 red. That is an incredibly specific mana cost, but +1, you draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. It's true, if this comes down on like turn 17, like your opponent's probably got 12 lands or something, they can just exile a land, it doesn't hurt that bad. But keep in mind, you are still getting a card. They are still losing a card. If Nicol Bolas Dragon God resolves, most of the time, you're immediately a 2-for-1. The other mode on it is -3, destroy target creature or planeswalker. So, as long as like the board's empty, even if they've got a Teferi on board or whatever the heck, right? You -kill their thing, and then they immediately handle Nicol Bolas. That's kind of stinky. Oh, bummer, you know? Well, you gotta figure, though. They use a card. You killed a card, so it's still a 2-for-1. Where you killed a card, and then they had to use a card to kill Nicol Bolas. So another 2-for-1. Then, each opponent who does not control a legendary creature or planeswalker loses the game, is the -8. So it's literally a you win the game ultimate if you've kept their board clear and stuff, which again for Nicol Bolas it's all kind of a self-contained package. You can use the -3 to keep the board clear or whatever, right? On top of all that, this is a planeswalker with a passive, folks. Nicol Bolas Dragon God has all loyalty abilities of all other planeswalkers on the battlefield. So if our opponent has a Teferi and we're like, you know what, instead of killing something, what say we tuck their Search Friscanta or something like that, or, you know, whatever. Yeah, we get all of those abilities, not the least of which, you know, maybe Narset. Okay, you know, you can only draw one card a turn. That's annoying. But killing Narset doesn't really, might not get us out of the current situation we're in, so just being able to minus and use Narset's abilities or something like that, right? It comes into play far more often than it sounds. What other cards do we have in this deck, though? Well, Nicol Bolas the Ravager is harkening back to when Nicol Bolas was not a legendary planeswalker, but was just an Elder Dragon. 4 mana, 4/4 flying. When it enters, each opponent discards a card. So again, almost always a 2-for-1. Being a 4/5, 4/4 flying, it's at least going to trade with creatures, one would expect. But more often than not, they're going to use a removal spell because they have to answer a 4/4 flying. Okay, but they had to discard a card as soon as it entered. So your one card gets their card, they use a card 2-for-1, right? So we're really trying to take advantage of those 2-for-1s on that. Now, you flip Nicol Bolas into the Arisen by paying 7 mana. It's insane. +2, draw 2 cards. -3, deals 10 damage to a creature or planeswalker. -4, put a target creature or planeswalker from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Indeed, with all the graveyard decks and stuff running around, you can even put their stuff onto the battlefield under your control. And then -12, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library. Yeah. So, very, very scary Magic card, for sure. Then, to round out our Nicol Bolas Tribal, Nicol Bolas God-Pharaoh, 7 mana, 7 loyalty, +2. Target opponent exiles exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Until the end of turn, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then +1, each opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. So it's essentially a Mind Rot, but it exiles them. They don't even discard them. Then -4, Nicol Bolas deals 7 damage to target opponent, target or creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. So yes, you can literally just 7 the opponent's face on the spot. And then -12, exile each non-land permanent your opponent's control. Is, you know, almost always gonna kill them immediately as well. It's also relevant that this comes down at 7 loyalty. You can immediately +2, it goes to 9. So that -12 is going to show up relatively quickly and oftentimes still be, you know, be able to leave your Planeswalker around. As far as other Nicol Bolas synergies, Dark Intimations, 5-mana sorcery. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or Planeswalker, then discards a card. So 2 for 1. You return a creature or Planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand, then draw a card. When you cast a Bolas Planeswalker, exile Dark Intimations from your graveyard. That Planeswalker enters with an additional loyalty counter on it, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it can be just a huge deal, folks. Being able to get Nicol Bolas to come down as a 5, immediately +2 a 6 means that -8 is coming quick, and they have to answer it right now. It also helps keep them out of burn spell range and that sort of thing. Very, very nice. As far as our other thing, we have some Planeswalker synergies here and stuff, but Angrath Flamechained, another 2 for 1 style card. Oftentimes, you'll be able to come down +1. Immediately, each opponent needs to discard a card and lose some life. It gives us a way of actually ending the game, you know, making their life total reach 0. But it also gives us a way of coming down on turn 5. If we, like, maybe swept the board on turn 4, say go, our opponent casts another creature. You kind of got to handle the creature. It kind of stinks. Well, okay. Casting an Angrath Flamechain, be able to -3, be able to attack, right? Very good. Then as far as the rest of this, a lot of controlling style stuff. 6 board sweepers, and then a couple of Sweltering Suns as well. Bonecrusher Giants, Bedevils, Scorching Dragonfires, and Bloodchief's Thirst, all very obvious cards. Destroy things, exile things, destroy things, right? Mazemind Tomes for a little more card advantage and, you know, card filtering, trying to find the cards. And then Spikefield Hazards as both removal, that exiles, very important. But also just a way to pad the land count. Our lands, we've got some 4 Fable Passages, 4 Dragonskull Summits, 4 Blood Crypts, a couple of Watery Graves, 4 Drowned Catacombs, 3 Swamps, 2 Mountains, and an Island. We are running 25 lands, so we just kind of put the Bojuka Bog on top of the deck as a, you know, as a spell land. Being able to exile graveyards is very nice, and we do want to make sure to keep hitting our lands, so I think 25 is fair here. Again, with the Spikefield Caves, we're padding all the way up to 27 so that we can hit Nicol Bolas God-Pharaohs and flip Nicol Bolas the Ravagers with a certain amount of regularity, but also not, you know, get too flooded, because you'll note all of our lands are focused on casting spells. These are not utility lands of any variety, right? It's also worth noting that blackland, right? There are only 3 lands in our entire deck that do not cast Nicol Bolas Dragon God. 2 mountains, an island, right? Every other land has the ability to go and get us the 3rd swamp. So, very relevant. Without further ado, though, let's take it off for a spin, see how it plays. All right, folks, here we are. We are up against Jamie JR. Good luck, Jamie JR. And yeah, I think this is a keepable hand. The fact that our lands are not tapped lands is good. We have 3 black already, you know. What more do you ask for? You know, we're playing... Oh, no. We asked for our opponent to not play control, maybe? Could we ask for that? I think this is not typically a very good matchup for us. But, you know, let's do our best, shall we? So this is a little questionable, folks, but the 4/3 is a very real threat, and our opponent will have to answer it. They elected not to put the Hallowed Fountain in untapped. So if we wait another turn, they could easily have something like Absorb or something like that. Whereas now, you know, we just get to go ahead and attack with Bonecrusher Giant and see what our opponent has to say, you know? Jamie JR just elects to take 4. We're going to go ahead and put in a Blood Crypt tapped and pass. At this juncture, our opponent doesn't even know we're on Grixis, right? Our opponent only knows that we're on black and red, right? So... Alright, I was going to say they may elect to tap out or something, but that is not the case. Alright. Opponent, will you do something? Will you react here somehow? Lightning Helix. Yes, please. Alright, no Spell Pierce. No Spell Pierce. Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. It resolves! Yeah, baby! Alright, we go up. Our opponent going to have to exile a card from their hand or a permanent they control. I expect it to be a card from their hand. It was. It's in fact an island from their hand. Opponent goes with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Teferi going to tuck. We are unsurprised by that. That is inconvenient, but we do have Angrath Flame Chained. So, we can follow it up and keep pressuring our opponent's hand. It's true, they get to draw an extra card a turn, which is very, very bad. But we, you know, are taxing a card away as well. So, your go, Jamie JR. Your go. Opponent discards a Superfluous Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Which, you know, would be good if we can ever handle this one, right? If we can't, we are likely to die. Alright, so let's not crack that. Let's go ahead and wait so that we can draw our Nicol Bolas, you know? Interesting.
No fire, no steam.
No fire, no steam. Opponent gets rid of a Day of Judgment, which is obviously not very good in this matchup. 3 cards left in hand. Opponent trying to decide if they want to save Teferi. They do not. Teferi goes away. We're going to go ahead and pass. Because I expect our opponent has 1 counterspell remaining in hand. So their decision here was save Teferi or, you know, counterspell Nicol Bolas, right? So, oh no! Darn it, folks. Unholy Heat. That is a powerful magic card if you can get Delirium on. And of course, our opponent does have Delirium, and not too much trouble getting it, honestly, I don't think. Alright, Kahira coming on down as a 3-2. That's a pair of 3-2s, as it were. Yep. Our turn. We draw Nicol Bolas. We're going to go ahead and crack right now, though, so that we can play around Spell Pierce style shenanigans. We're going to go ahead and grab another blue source. And Ritual of Soot. Away their stuff. Opponent draws a card. 3 cards remain in hand, folks. We're expecting a counterspell for Nicol Bolas, but oh boy, that's a good one. Let's play around Spell Pierce. We could have tried to jam Nicol Bolas God-Pharaoh, but we're pretty confident our opponent has some kind of interaction here. Oh boy, they just Prismari Command. That doesn't necessarily mean they don't have interaction, right? But oh my goodness, they don't have an answer. Oh boy, that's fantastic. Okay, well, we're pretty happy about that. Opponent has to get rid of a Steam Vent. Nicol Bolas God-Pharaoh being able to come down next turn, a very, very good thing. Archmage's Charm. I'm going to draw 2 cards. Hall of the Storm Giants comes down. Okay, well, that's very good for our opponent. So let's go up, I suppose. We draw. They have to exile. Alright, well, let's try Nicol Bolas God-Pharaoh. We're not particularly thrilled about this. Okay, yes, we played around the sensor, and sure enough, it paid off. Did our opponent draw into another counterspell? Well, if they did, they didn't use it, so okay. We're going to go ahead and target that particular opponent. We get a Censor off the top of the library. I don't expect that to be overly handy, but, you know. Shark Typhoon makes a dude. That's actually inconvenient, because the Hall of Storm Giants can start being activated here, and yeah, we're gonna have a difficult time answering Hall of Storm Giants. But the most important thing there is that they could kill our Nicol Bolas, right? Oh boy, never mind. All right, well, all right, do the thing. Can we do this? We can. Alright, Angrath Flame Chained. And, yeah, I mean, let's just go ahead and make him discard that last card. I don't know what it is, obviously, but it's better that it's gone than if it was there. So Bojuka Bog, let's exile all of those cards from the bin. Just all of the things go away. And we're going to hold up Bedevil. Oh no, we can't. Shoot, because it's got Ward 3. I always forget about the Ward. Alright. Yeah. Alright, Bonecrusher Giant hits. Nicol Bolas dies. So that is Ward 3. So we need 6 mana available. We would only have 5.
No fire,
Alright.
no steel.
So let's Bonecrusher Giant. And hold on. Our opponent living on the top of their deck here. They do need to get rid of Angrath because it's, you know, getting really annoying. They draw Memory Deluge. That is very, very bad for us. Alright. Alright. Our turn. Let's go up. Opponent discards.
No fire, no steel.
Another Memory Deluge. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and attack. Opponent drops to 3. We're gonna pass for now. Opponent casts a 3rd Memory Deluge. Oh my word. Alright. Well, this is terrifying. Opponent 3 cards in hand now. As the Hollow Storm Giants become active. The Bonecrusher Giant is lethal on its own. The Angrath is going to take an extra turn. Alright. Opponent Sulfur Falls. And foretells. Alright.
No fire, no steel.
Oh. Alright, so let's just Mazemind Tome. Opponent saw it coming? Wow. There's no way that's correct. They needed something special there, I think. You know, like, they needed... The fact that they could... Yeah. I don't know. That's pretty questionable. Admittedly, they were probably just saying, I'm going to counterspell anything, and they probably didn't give much thought to it. They just wanted to try and interact with the board, I guess. So I guess that's fair. But now, Angrath's getting ready to kill him, you know? Alright, let's go up. Alright.
I'll have you in chains next time. No fire.
Got him. Woo! It's not often you get to bedevil your own planeswalker for the win, but I'll take it. GG, opponent. GG. Alright, folks, here we are. We're up against Izumi. Good luck, Izumi. Yeah, I mean, this hand looks serviceable. We're not excited about this in any way, but there are a lot of creature decks in the format, so... Oh, crud. What is happening over here? Opponent absolutely wielding spice. I'm not sure what kind, what flavor of spice, but... Turn 1 Llanowar. Oh, it's ninjas. Okay, sure. Alright, Ninja the D-Powers. Not surprising. Yep. Opponent going to get to draw a card here. Alright. And Ornithopter makes a return. Yeah, let's not fool around. We're just going to kill the Ninja the D-Powers. It's true, they likely have another Ninja to Ninja N with the Ornithopter. The problem is, like, you know, we have one removal spell. That's what we've got this turn, so... You know, there isn't much we can do about that. And Genius Infiltrator coming on down as a 2/3. That is unable to be interacted with via Bonecrusher Giant, but it can be blocked by Bonecrusher Giant, so... We are going to be attempting to do that. Bonecrusher Giant, come on down. Yep. Ornithopter gets in. And Ninja's back. Mist Syndicate Naga. That's really annoying. Yeah. Sure. Shocks in the Misty, or the Watery Grave. Fatal pushes our Bonecrusher Giant and casts an Ornithopter. These things are very inconvenient because, of course, we're running Ritual of Soot here, right? So it doesn't get rid of the Ingenious Infiltrator. We get to get rid of the Mist Syndicate Naga before it gets out of control, but darn it, the fact that our opponent was on the play really puts us behind here. So we're gonna... No! No! We do not like seeing Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is bad. Opponent takes our Angrath Flame Chained. That's not overly surprising. And Changeling Outcast coming on down. Sure. Well, let's do this, I suppose. Get rid of that Ingenious Infiltrator if we can. Opponent has the negate. Wow, folks. What a blowout. Our opponent has had every card they could possibly hope for. Ingenious Infiltrator. Drawing 2 cards. Yeah, they're unlikely to miss from now on, I can tell you that. Alright, well. Okay, that happens. Bonecrusher Giant also happens. The fact that they didn't have a counterspell there means we have a shot. You know, I wouldn't say it's a great shot, but we have a shot. Them drawing 3 cards a turn is just, there's no way we can ever compete with that. 2 cards a turn is bad enough, but they are likely to have a large amount of Alright, well, Fabled Passage, let's crack. They're likely to have a large number of creatures, so it's not like every card they draw is going to be meaningful, similar in the way that, like, Mono Blue Tempo is, or something, you know. Alright. Dark Intimations. We don't expect this to resolve. But if it does, like, okay, it does. Holy crud, that's fantastic. Our opponent has to sacrifice a creature, then discard a card. Then we get back... Not sure if the Angrath is good enough, but I guess let's go with the Bonecrusher Giant and then draw a card. We draw another Bonecrusher Giant. Holy crud, folks. Alright. Opponent doesn't have another creature. Okay, well, maybe. Folks, I don't... You know... I'm not... super optimistic here, but maybe. Alright, Slitherblade. Fabled Passage, come on down. Or, I guess, another Mountain. Opponent. Allows it to happen. Okay, well, we can cast another Bonecrusher Giant. And wait. The fact that this has a 3rd toughness is really, really annoying for us. Alright. It is getting close, folks. This is right down to the wire. Yeah. Opponent draws another card up to 5 in hand. Casts an Ornithopter. Puts in a land. We go after the Ornithopter. It immediately resolves. Oh my goodness. All right. Yes, please. Oh, we got him. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I would not call us comfortable, but we did things, right? We did things. Opponent with removal. No, Ninja of the Deep Hours. This, another 4. Okay, that's very good. The fact that it's 4 mana cost really gets around our Ritual of Soot stuff. You know, that's really annoying. All right, opponent. Forced to discard. Loses 2 life. It's a flash creature. We could just die. All right, let's hold back. It would have been nice to just... Okay. You know, burn their creature, attack their face, you know. But... Alright, Scorching Dragonfire. And opponent passes. Okay, Bedevil is very, very good here. We get to get their last card.
No fire, no steel.
It's just a land. Opponent on 6, we're on 2. Oh my word, folks. Angrath Flame Chained on 6 loyalty. Alright, Ingenious Infiltrator. And the opponent scoops it up! That was close. Or, I mean, we never didn't have it. I made it look close for the content and all that, but, you know, we never didn't have them, folks. We never didn't have them. GG. GG. Alright, folks, here we are up against Astendar. Good luck, Astendar. And yeah, I mean, I think this is a keeper. Our mana's a little bit awkward here, but that's okay. I think we're gonna hang on to it anyway. Going to start on Fabled Passage and pass. Keep our opponent in the dark about what we're doing. Opponent goes Temple of Triumph. Where does their scry go? It goes top. Alright. So, I mean, this may seem just a little bit weird, folks, but I think we're going after an island. Oh boy, feels good, man. That's exactly what we wanted. So we're gonna pop the Blood Crypt in tapped. We wanted this to be an untapped land, but we didn't want to suffer for it. Cliff Top Retreat. What is our opponent up to over there? Is our opponent doing something spicy, folks? It looks like they might be. They could be on some kind of graveyard deck, though, like with discarding stuff into the bin. Let's hold on to Bojuka Bog. We might pay the price for this. We won't be able to cast a 5-mana Planeswalker on curve without drawing another land, but if they do just untap and go like Cathartic Reunion or something like that, we could, you know, really, really be in trouble. Alright, well, our opponent is apparently on Feather. So, it is simultaneously less spicy than we had thought, and absolutely not what we had feared, so, you know. It's some kind... It's somewhere firmly in the middle. Absolutely glad we get to remove Feather, though. This card, very, very scary if they can untap with it. Do they have a replacement? Replacement Feather would be very bad. No, but Dreadhorde Arcanist is also scary, for the record. And the opponent passes. Okay, let's see. Well. Nicol Bolas the Ravager. Come on down. We'll see if we want to Bojuka Bog this stuff away. You know, it will depend on what our opponent casts this turn. Being able to empty the bin so that Dreadhorde Arcanist doesn't have any hits would be nice. The problem is we're not really expecting them to, you know, use anything now. They're just going to discard a card. They're most likely to cast like a pump spell. Okay. That's actually a really, really good pump spell. Yeah, you know what? Let's get rid of it. We might live to regret this, but getting rid of it now, like, we're never going to be able to use this at instant speed, you know, on their turn, right? Oh, boy. Cathar Commando. That's terrifying. Temple of Triumph comes on in. Opponent goes bottom of the scry. 3 cards in hand. Graveyard empty. Feather comes down. Alright, opponent passes back. Okay. Well. Nicol Bolas Dragon God. Kill Feather? Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank heavens. Perish. Okay. So we're just going to put that in tapped. No attacks. Hang on for dear life. The fact that we've gotten rid of 2 Feather is very good here. Oh, crud. 10th District Legionnaire is also terrifying. Ruthless Rage. No! I hate that card. I hate that card so much. Alright. Sun Gold Sentinel coming down as well. Alright, folks. We need a sweeper off the top. And we need it quick. Otherwise, we are just going to die. There's a case to be made that our opponent shouldn't even attack Nicol Bolas. They should just send it all right at our face. Just to try and increase the clock as quickly as possible, sort of thing, you know? But this does also minimize our outs, right? So, Scorching Dragonfire. Really don't want to leave them with 6 power on the board, you know? But I think we need to Mazemind Tome here so that we can draw into answers to the board. We dare not give them a chance to untap with Pentar's Collegian Air, though. Otherwise, they, you know, there's a huge swath of their deck that are instant speed things that they just, you know, are able to respond and grow it, and our life gets miserable, you know. No. Alright, Blood Crypt is not the card we were looking for, folks. Alright, set a stop on our upkeep. We need to do some scrying. Alright. Opponent does sacrifices the Cathar's Commander? Okay, that's actually just fine with us, honestly. We're not upset with that, even in the least. Let's see. Alright, so let's Angrath Flame Chained, I suppose. Yep. Opponent. Thinking about things. Trying to decide if they want to use the instant speed card in their hand. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go down on Sun Gold Sentinel. Grab a hold of her. And attack. We're going to exile Reckless Rage. Opponent takes it down to 17. We cast Mazemind Tome. Put in a Blood Crypt tapped and pass the turn. Sun Gold Sentinel gets sacrificed because it was a power or a creature mana value 3 or less, so it goes away. Opponent draws a card for their turn. Gets another Dreadhorde Arcanist. All right, where does Dreadhorde Arcanist go? Presumably at Angrath. It's yeah. Oh crud, they have another one. Is this lethal? Let's see. No, I guess not. It's very close, though. This is terrifying. All right. Yeah, I think they still go after the Angrath, right? And then just at our face. I assume they do use the Summit Sprint. It's too juicy to not. Yep. Does a little more scrying. Goes bottom. And we might as well scry now as well. Dark Intimations. Okay. Drop to 2. And our turn. Dark Intimations. Our opponent forced to sacrifice a creature and discard a card. Of course, they don't have a card to discard, so it doesn't really matter. Then we get to return a creature or planeswalker from our graveyard to our hand and draw a card. So, Angrath Flame Chained. Come on back. Oh boy, that's a good one. Well, we're doing it right now because we don't want our opponent... our opponent's deck typically does have a fair number of give protection from a color or give indestructible into the end of turn style stuff. If we let them draw into those things, we easily might lose the video game. Oh, darn it. We intended to set a stop there and scry, but I failed to do that thing. Let's draw right now to inform our decision. Okay. Well, then Angrath Flame Chain, come on down. Opponent discard your card. Lose 2 life. It was a mountain. Down to 15. On Clifftop Retreat coming out of our opponent's hand. Oh my word, folks. That is a fantastic draw. Nicol Bolas. The Ravager coming down. We are going to go ahead and draw. They don't have any cards in hand, so we get to gain the life. They don't have any responses, right? We go up to 6. That is a pretty healthy life total. We're going to go up. Our opponent drops to 13. Oh, and they get a plains. Oh, boy, opponent. That is just not ideal. Let's go ahead. Hit them. You know what? I really want to flip the Nicol Bolas here. Problem is, this gives us lethal next turn because we get to tick up, make them lose life,
The cosmos are mine to control.
and our opponent flipping this Nicol Bolas is arguably the wrong call here. So it doesn't matter. They scoop him up. GG. We should have flipped the Nicol Bolas. That's what we should have done. Dang it. All right. Oh well. GG, opponent. GG. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Holy crud. We had a blast. Honestly, this deck was a ton of fun to play. This is one of those times where I'm not sure if I just got really lucky or if the deck was straight fire. You know, we won 3 straight. I played 3 games. You get to see them all. There isn't any other surprise here. You know, I just had a blast. Honestly, the games were very intricate. We even had, you know, one of those matchups where our opponent is kind of on control and stuff, and a lot of the time we don't have any counter spells in this deck, so a lot of the time we're going to struggle against them. It didn't end up mattering, right? We were able to get there. We had some, you know, really, I don't know, the ninjas game was a ton of fun as well, so I don't know, like it was a blast, not gonna lie. I think this was just a killer deck, for at least for the decks we saw, or the opponents we saw, but I do think it's also a relatively solid deck. As far as things I might change after the games we played, I'm not sure. We did get kind of hosed by the Ritual of Soot on ninjas, because Ninja of the Deep Hours and then the 2/3 Ninja both are 4 CMC. The problem is there just aren't that many 4 CMC creatures. More often than not, this is going to be a better removal spell than Languish a lot of the time. But it is relevant that, you know, that did come back to get us. So maybe this is supposed to be 3 and 3. I'm not sure. It's also true that as we've worked on in the past, some packages of Anger of the Gods, Sweltering Suns, being 3-mana board sweepers, very, very good. It's possible we're supposed to be on a few more of these and maybe a few less of these. So if we're going to add more red symbols, we'll probably need to tweak the mana base just a little bit to accommodate more red. Because you'll note, these are the only double red spells in the entire deck, and they do cycle, so they won't get stranded in our hand. If we went up to the full 4, you're kind of a little more likely to have them get stranded sometimes, or maybe, you know, like Anger of the Gods, you're even at a higher risk of having them stranded in your hand. But it would be a fine thing to do, particularly if you don't have the rare wildcards for Rituals of Soot or Languishes. You know, you're not in that luxury spot. As far as other changes you might make, maybe a little, you know, like go for the 4th Mazemind Tome, perhaps over one of the Spikefield Hazards. Again, padding our land count is very, very nice. This is up to 27 though, because we're on 25 base lands, so maybe we could do with 26 is fine, and just having the ability to scry a little better, draw a little better. Again, leaning into the 2-for-1 thing that we mentioned at the beginning of the video. So, all that said, though, honestly, it was a blast. This is likely one of the decks we might end up playing on stream at some point, because I really, really enjoyed myself. And particularly if you've had one of those days where you're just like, oh my gosh, this has been a miserable day. There is something at least relatively cathartic about just continually messing up whatever it is your opponent's doing. So, you know, maybe that's kind of a small person thing from my perspective, but you know, also I think it also might be fine. So that said, let me know in the comments below if there are some things you might change. But like I say, did really, really well. So I appreciate all of you folks for watching, and I will catch you all next time.